Really, bro?
Who said that?
He managed to set up his phone just as a direct in, so now he can just soundboard right into
that's awesome.
the mix.
Blow it out your ass.
Richard, good for you. I am actually proud of you for this.
I hate this so much.
I am psyched about this. This is awesome. Do another one. Fuck you.
God, we really are drive time radio now.
Do it. Do it. Welcome to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Colin, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
And as always, we're joined by producer Richard.
Blow it out your ass.
That didn't work out right.
No, I didn't. I got
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you while we are all on airplane mode as of right now because we're addicted to our cell phones while we do the show. Right?
Hotcha.
No, you gotta read what it says. I like your ad-libbing. I like that you're in it. I like that you're focused because we're on airplane mode. But read the fucking script.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to put this on airplane mode.
You could just turn it over and then.
I guess I could do that too. Yeah, here, hold on a second.
Oh, no, leave it on airplane.
Oh, I missed a couple messages now, though. Farts. Well, it's not easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things. And people tend to pass you over because you're not standing out like flashy sparkles in the water.
God, it's so much
I
sadder
know.
when it's not being sung.
When it's being said in that sort of melancholy voice that Colin has.
Well, yeah,
I call it the melancholy
when it
voice.
doesn't-
Melancholy voice.
That was nice. Yeah, when it doesn't have the chipper, like, Kermit, like...
It's not easy being green.
That was pretty good.
That wasn't bad, yeah. I was impressed. At first, I thought he was doing it.
Love boat, we've been waiting for you.
No, it's gone.
Yeah.
He's losing it.
Although, for a show known for its terrible impressions, that's
Tip top.
pretty good.
And in news,
All right.
Booster Gold receives Batpoint Makeover.
Yeah, so there's a story going on currently in Batman that basically Booster Gold... I think the idea is that it's meant to be like his wedding gift to Batman, that he has gone back in time and like altered the past so that the Waynes were never killed.
Yeah.
So then Bruce never becomes Batman. He's trying to do like the It's a Wonderful Life thing and show him how important he is. But it's created this universe called Batpoint where things went like sideways and things are worse off, basically.
Yeah.
Which is the point. But what's weird about this whole story to me is that we just finished a story called Booster Shot in Action Comics where where Booster was actively trying to stop Superman from altering the past on Krypton. And then he flips around and it's like, just for a lark, I'm going to completely fuck up the timeline just to show you how cool you are. Like, it feels like disingenuous for the character to have done that. But basically, Booster is stuck in Batpoint right now. Yeah, and he's got this like big beard and stuff because he's been stuck there for a while, is the idea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bearded Batman, I like that.
Well, no, it's
Or
bearded,
bearded booster. Bearded booster. Bearded booster.
Bearded booster.
Bearded booster at a Batpoint.
Yeah.
Anyways, DC Comics will no longer offer digital copies with most of their titles.
Now, is this a trick Is this a trick or is this real?
It's phrased more alarmingly than what it is.
It's almost like I don't come up with these article titles.
Almost like you copy and paste it.
Almost like that.
So basically, it sounds like they're not making digital comics anymore. That's not true. Every issue that comes out, every new issue is available digital and available hard copy. But what they have been doing is if you bought a hard copy comic, it would have a code on the inside where you could then for free get the digital version as well. They're going to stop doing that basically.
Well, that's not fair.
I don't know that it's not fair.
Well, it's kind of like when you buy a record, like a vinyl record, music, and they have the slip in there where it's the digital download code.
Yeah,
Because
but if
you're
stopped
spending
doing
a lot of money on music, you should also get the carry around in your.
But put it
iPod
this
thing.
way, if they stopped putting that code in the vinyl record, would you stop buying vinyl?
Well, no, because I'm 80.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Are you
I can't
just,
tell
are you
if
just like winging these, or do you know what any of them are?
They're titled under what they are.
Okay.
I can't.
So you're still fucking it up then.
I can't tell if that's
Bruh.
cutting the tension or adding to it.
I'm okay with either.
That's true.
Sometimes I like to just like press one though and see what happens. Because fuck it.
Got to keep that in the bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically what's happening. You can still buy digital versions of the new comics, but if you get a hard copy, then they won't include that code for the free digital version anymore.
I wonder what the thinking behind that is.
I honestly don't know.
Are they trying to increase digital sales as well? Like, is that
Well, that would decrease.
Well, no, because if it's free inside, then that would.
Well, but that would.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. So then they could just be like, here's this copy, dude. I know. Here's the code. Here's the digital.
Yeah, exactly. It like would slow down piracy almost.
Well, now I don't know if that's how the code works, or if it can only be redeemed once or something.
Well, that's. But I mean, if you already have the comic, then why do you need the digital?
Well, some people just like to have
because like I have a bunch of digital codes downstairs that I occasionally, if people like the band, I'll just give them the code because I have a
big digital comic
I'd like to
collection
flip through that
because I read it on like the airplane, so I don't have to bring comic books with me. I just bring my iPad and I can read a bunch that way. So I mean, there is a place in my life for digital comics, but I don't go through and double buy everything.
Now, right? when I what was it?
That's a young man's game.
Superman 1000 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
When I flipped through that on your iPad, I felt like really detached while I was reading that.
Yeah.
That was not my favorite way of reading something.
I prefer obviously having the physical copy.
Yeah.
But what I will say that digital has that's kind of interesting is that guided view thing where
I love that with Comixology when you press just the arrow and it takes you to the next panel or even just like
or just the next like narration.
It's
like
the best way because that's one of the biggest like issues I have, and as well as I think my wife actually does too, is like when you're reading comics, it's hard to always know the format of like how to properly read each part of the panel.
So there's that, especially if you don't read a ton of comics, they've gotten more complex in terms of like the geography of like how to read them. But also, you know, when you open up a comic book, when you open up a novel, it's just text. You have to focus on where you're reading. But when you open up a comic book, because it's all images, you kind of see what's happening like the next page over.
So you're just like,
and then you have to catch up. So that what's nice about that guided view is that you can kind of guard some spoilery things a little more easily. But I mean, beyond that, I think I agree with Colin. I prefer having the physical comic. There's something nice about actually reading it that way to me. But
I definitely agree.
I'm not anti-digital.
And you know what? I think that I was kind of the opposite of you guys, where I wasn't a big fan of that guided view thing because
you didn't like it.
No, because it kind of like it cuts through stuff.
That's the only problem is if it's like a big panel.
Like you mean as it's like zooming in?
Yeah.
That's definitely.
I didn't care for that.
No.
That was not fun.
But I mean, guys, let's not worry. Anyways, this whole internet thing, this fad.
It's just
it's not going to catch on. No one's doing the internet.
We don't need to worry about it. As we speak on an internet radio show.
Like, you're the one who said it. It's not like
we're going to have to switch to analog broadcasting for when the internet goes down.
Luckily, we have a guy.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we've got the inside scoop. Online leaks hint at a Superman video game from Rocksteady.
Oh God, I'm Rocksteady thinking about this.
I'm gonna leave now.
No. How stoked are you about this?
I'm pretty excited. It's meant to take place in the Arkham verse, so in the same world as Batman: Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
I mean, that makes sense because
they did in Arkham Knight did have teases of things in Metropolis. There's like a voicemail from Lex Luthor when you're in Bruce Wayne's office. There's like references to Superman and that. But yeah,
my only concern is that I hope it doesn't have the same darkness that Batman does.
I would hope that it's a bit lighter because
I've never seen a Superman comic that happens in the dark.
Part of it too is I wonder when it takes place.
Isn't that weird?
Does it take place in like a what?
I've never seen a Superman comic that happens in the dark.
No, I mean it's definitely happened.
Sure,
but like, but the default state for Gotham is like nighttime and or raining, and the default state for Metropolis is sunshine.
If you have an example of Superman,
so one is New York
in the dark. Hold on.
Actually, I think they're modeled on New York and Chicago, even though they're both meant to be on the East Coast.
Hold on, listeners. If you have an example of Superman happening at nighttime, send us a tweet about it with hashtag Darkman.
Hashtag Darkman.
Actually,
I'm sorry. Hashtag Blackman is
no.
What was that?
Hashtag Nightman and show me because
or hashtag Bat Day.
Oh, No, I think Batman happens. Bruce Wayne happens in the day.
Hashtag Bat
He
Day.
does like parties and
Bruce-
stuff.
or
Bruce Wayne.
hashtag Super Night.
Bruce Wayne on the streets, Dark Knight in the sheets.
Oh my god. Hold on. What was that that pop hip hop song about Supermaning?
Soldier Boy. Crank that Soldier Boy and who crank that Soldier Boy.
Yeah,
and then you were meant to quote unquote Superman that
Superman that hoe.
So that would happen at night, I would guess.
That's
Do you know what I've heard Supermaning is?
I don't know. We're not doing this. We're
I'm
not
curious.
doing
Do
this.
It's when you finish the sexual process on top of a significant other's back, and then you put a towel on their back or like a sheet, and then when they get up, it sticks to it.
Oh my God.
Hey, it could happen for men and women. I mean, the hoe could be both a boy or a girl.
You think that's what my objection is to it?
Oh, you just don't like the general sexual connotation? Are you not comfortable with your sexuality?
I'm comfortable with my sexuality. I'm not comfortable with like all this
talking about sex?
degrading like
It's
sex
not-
acts named after my favorite superhero.
Hey, if both parties are
Let's talk about
wanting to
sex,
happen,
baby.
maybe I'm a hoe that
Let's
wants to
talk
be
about
Superman.
you and me.
Hey, am I not openly allowed to be Superman if I'm a hoe and want that?
Why are we using hoe? It's
I could be a hoe.
2018.
Yeah, but a hoe could just be somebody who wants it and wants to call himself a hoe.
I can't believe I'm being made to sound unwoke in this.
Jeez, what's wrong with you? This is 2018. Get woke, Doc.
Jesus. All right, let's move on.
If you think that the doctor isn't woke enough,
But
make
yeah,
sure you
there's
hit
a-
us up on Twitter with #WokeDoc.
But yeah, Superman from Rocksteady.
I've awoken. I'm really excited about this. I just hope that the flying is better than the previous Superman.
Like
game.
that Superman Returns.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, what I've heard from this one is that it's sort of like it's a big open world, like 3 times the size of Arkham Knight.
It would have to be, because if you're going to do all that flying.
But it's only like semi-destructible environment, kind of like Arkham Knight, where you would see things like kind of crumble in that as you drive through them, but you can't actually like take a building down. I think it's going to be the same sort of mechanic for Superman,
Which I'm okay with that. I mean, though, in the
big
fights.
thing, the big thing is that apparently there's no Clark Kent in the game.
Well, there's no Bruce Wayne in the Arkham games.
Yeah, but Bruce Wayne does a lot less than Clark Kent does.
I think he does more.
There's a whole the whole investigative detective quote unquote side of Superman is Clark Kent. Bruce Wayne does nothing other than distract people from who Batman is.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you look at the Telltale games, there's actually tons that like Bruce Wayne has to do from like a political side.
But that works for those Telltale games where like what you're doing is more about like your like vocal reaction to, you know what I mean? Like you're choosing a scenario as opposed to like playing through a world.
Yeah.
I think that works for
I just think
Telltale.
it would be weird in a game where you're just like, okay, I've got to go like stop Brainiac right now. But wait, first I need to go turn into Clark Kent
But
do a news article.
How cool would it be though if you were doing a Clark Kent
That'd be
quest,
okay though. Too.
and
Yeah,
then-
I knew you would love
and
that.
then
Fuck.
you had to like run into a phone booth and then you'd be Superman, you'd fly out. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I'd love to Superman that hoe.
Let's move on.
Swamp Thing TV series in the works for DC's new digital platform.
Oh,
James
yeah.
Wan.
So James Wan of like horror film fame and the director of Aquaman.
And he did Saw, didn't he?
Or
No,
but he did. Is it The Conjuring or something like that?
You know what? I can produce this.
Do it. Oh my god, do it.
It might be the gin talking, but I think I'm going to do my job. He did do The Conjuring. You're totally right. He did The Conjuring, and
Is Colin
he
right?
was a writer for Saw.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
I thought you were. I would instantly was just thinking director, but no, you're totally
But
right.
yes, the same.
God damn, I love The Conjuring. Sorry, and he did Furious 7.
Yes, he did. And
Great movie.
he's the director of Aquaman, the
Must be
film.
the gin talking.
And he's going to be the producer of a Swamp Thing TV series that, is coming to DC's digital platform. So that's where Titans is going to be, is on this digital platform.
It's not like Swamp Thing's going to be a teenager and then all of a sudden he's like grows up too fast and then we have a Gotham situation on our hands.
No. Well, I mean, we know very little about it, but hopefully not. From what the synopsis sounds like, it sounds like we get Dr. Alec Holland. We get
Holy shit!
Abigail
Sorry,
Arcane.
James Wan is making a Mortal Kombat something.
Really?
And I'm really excited about that. I'm sorry. I was looking at his producer credits and Mortal Kombat's the top one. I'm like, that means like Mortal Kombat's coming back. bam, 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 bam. Okay, I'm really excited for that. But Swamp Thing is going to be amazing.
Now I know where the rest of that bottle of gin went.
Yeah, I'm pumped for a well-made Swamp Thing, like a Swamp Thing that isn't Wes Craven's Swamp Thing, because those ones aren't very good.
It's the time, and for somebody like James Wan who does that sort of like
the mythos has gotten so much richer too since those original Swamp Thing movies. There's such a more mystical element to it. We're going to talk about it today. That's the theme of our episode of those kingdoms of nature. But like that whole thing with the green and that he's one in a long line of swamp things and stuff like that. I'm excited to see where it goes. I hope we get to see like a really terrifying Anton Arcane, because he's basically like a necromancer. He's partly kind of undead himself. I think that's a great like villain. And there's so many amazing kind of horror-y villains in Swamp Thing, like the Patchwork Man or like Floronic Man.
Did you ever see that movie Night Moves with Jesse Eisenberg, where he plays like an environmental
is he working on that?
protester, where he does like he's a radical environmentalist who ends up like trying to explode a dam.
Oh no.
I would love if it was like super into the environmental thing, but with like even darker.
Yeah. But more horror than suspense. Yeah.
But something to do with the two of those, I think, would be unreal.
Yeah, I mean, we know very little about it right now, but I'm super excited that it's happening. But this is part of an announcement that there's a bunch of new projects coming for that digital platform. Doom Patrol, I think, is going to spin out of Titans and get its own series. Harley Quinn's going to get her own series.
They're really like putting their foot into Doom Patrol right now, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So yeah,
Justice League will pit Flash against the Still Force. The Speed Force is opposite. Schneider's Justice League adding the Invisible Spectrum to Green Lantern mythos.
Yeah, so those two are kind of, I put them together as sort of one news piece, because basically in the aftermath of DC Metal, the Justice League accidentally basically tore open the source wall, which is the boundary of all reality, and they've discovered that there's a lot more out there, and that the source wall might have actually been what was holding the rules of the universe in place.
Really?
Yeah, so now what's coming through that sort of breach, they're discovering, a still force, which is the opposite of the speed force. Not a mirror thing like the negative speed force, because those are both related to speed. The still force is like a force of entropy. It's actually slowing things. So the Flash will be coming up against that. Green Lantern will be coming up against the invisible spectrum, which includes the ultraviolet, which we talked about in a previous news piece. I think I made the joke that maybe they'll have infrared. So maybe they will if there's a whole invisible spectrum. But I think it's going to add different like hidden emotions and things like that. So both of these sort of mythologies are getting whole new areas to them. And what's interesting too is that it looks like the first arc of Justice League is introducing the Legion of Doom. So I think the idea is that the Justice League is going to try and contain these things that the breach in the source wall is letting in, and the Legion of Doom is going to try to exploit them.
That's really cool.
So, the Legion lineup looks like it's Luthor, Joker, Cheetah, Manta, Grodd, and Sinestro. Which is pretty awesome.
Rad grouping.
Yeah.
And in sad news from Monday, because we record this on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday today. Canadian actress Margot Kidder passes away at 69.
Yeah, she played Lois Lane. Exactly. Colin, you're the one that brought this news piece.
Yeah, I did. I heard it on the local radio station.
The most attractive Lois Lane, in my opinion.
I don't know. I don't know who she is.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I gotta.
She was like you said, she's a Canadian actress, most famous for playing Lois Lane. She was also on shows like The L Word and Smallville and things like that. And she was in a film called Sisters or something like that. I think she was a very talented actor and was an incredible Lois Lane in those Christopher Reeve Superman movies. But she should be better known as like an advocate for like mental health issues. She herself suffered from bipolar disorder and had a very sort of public breakdown in the 90s. And then afterwards, she sort of became like an advocate for mental health issues. So yeah, it's obviously sad to lose someone who's a part of like the sort of tapestry of comic books and things like that, but it's also sad to lose someone who was doing such kind of good work that way. So far, they haven't released what the cause of death was, but yeah, sad to lose Margot Kidder.
Super hot too. I'm just
Totally irrelevant.
I'm just
Really undercutting the tone. I know she's attractive. I'm
a married man.
hey,
completely irrelevant.
The married
it's
man
just
part or
worth
the she's hot
mentioning
part?
Is it?
that she was a beautiful woman. Yeah.
Okay.
She had a beautiful.
Look, she had a lot more merit than that, but I'm just saying it's important to talk about how attractive she was.
Is it? All right.
I'm enjoying just letting him keep spinning out of control on this.
I'm not spinning out of control. I'm enjoying myself.
I know I can.
Can we
tell.
move on?
Birds of Prey movie pitched as R-rated movie.
Oh damn!
That would be dope. Yeah, I think was it Margot Robbie herself that
Yes,
said that was the.
well, she was one of the people that did say it, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, especially if the idea is that it's the Birds of Prey kind of and the Gotham City Sirens. I think it would be pretty awesome to have an R-rated movie that way. I mean, we know R-rated superhero movies work because Deadpool and Logan are both incredible. But to take like characters like Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Black Canary, Batgirl, and throw them in an R-rated movie, that sounds awesome. But I think what's maybe like the bigger part of that is that the news coming out about that movie is, I think, really indicating that Margot Robbie is kind of in creative control. Like Warner Brothers seems to be letting her.
She is
kind of dictate
so
the terms
smart. I was watching videos of so Jimmy Kimmel like took some time off from the show, and so he had guest hosts come in.
Right.
And there was an episode where Chris Pratt's the host, and he has Margot Robbie on, and like she's super charming and funny and really, really good. And I think of her as like an extremely talented actress and like obviously extremely attractive, but like I never like I don't think of her as like this like dynamic creative entity just because I hadn't seen that side of her. But super awesome.
It seems like she's really like got a clear idea of what kind of project she wants Harley Quinn, like the character, to be a part of. And so far, it seems like Warner Brothers is letting her kind of dictate.
Well, as some of it,
because she's the one that wanted a female director and writer, and she's the one that, you know.
The reality is
Harley in that
people are coming for Harley in that movie, and that's because of her.
Yeah.
I think that like giving her the reins to be like to if she knows what's best and why. I mean, why not do it? Right? Like
totally.
I'm definitely up for it. I think that she's wicked smart.
I love the idea of
Wicked smart.
Yeah, thank you.
I love the idea of an R-rated
You like apples?
Birds of Prey movie. I think that'd be
I hope that they do the R-rated in like a violence kind of way and not like a.
I think that has to be where she's
coming from
with it. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the type. I mean, though she has shown many times and
well, but that's, you know, when the story dictates or whatever. But yeah, I have to imagine it's more so that because Harley is a very violent character, you know.
Yes.
Catwoman, Poison Ivy
but
have dark pasts.
It's like, a side we've never seen. It's a side that's always like presumed.
Yeah. If you want to up the kind of carnage of that kind of movie, then yeah, maybe the R rating's the way to go.
Hey, this is DC, not Marvel. Don't talk about carnage.
Oh, Cletus Cassidy.
I was trying to remember that name Cletus the other day because I was trying to think of like a funny hillbilly name,
like the one from The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I couldn't put my finger on that name. And
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
Legion of Doom is coming to Justice League comic.
Talked about it. Done.
Check. I like that we're going through these, and it was like Birds of Prey movie pitches R-rated movie, and you're like, that's dope. It's like next piece of news.
Moving on. Nothing to say.
Is this Lord of the Rings director eyeing DCEU film project?
Yeah, there's been a couple of rumors about different directors maybe joining the DCEU. We know that Steven Spielberg is already going to be doing
maybe next piece of news.
A Black Hawk movie. But Peter Jackson, director of Lord of the Rings, is one of the rumored ones. Ridley Scott, I think, is also kind of rumored to be circling a project.
I could see Peter Jackson just because, I mean, any
because he is in the room.
Okay, what would you want him to do?
Direct the shit out of a movie.
Which, God damn it, which comic book movie would you want Peter Jackson to take on?
Right, man. He did great with Lord of the Rings with all the like hobbity costumes.
But then he shit the bed on the Hobbit. So
yeah, but whatever. They shouldn't have made that at what 2 or 3 pieces, whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
they
That was
really
ridiculous.
But knowing what his strengths can be as a filmmaker.
Costume director.
What?
No, I'm not pitching what other job he should have. I'm still trying to figure out what character he should take on.
So the thing with Peter Jackson is
Ice cream
best
maker.
boy, key grip.
with Peter Jackson, you have to give him things that it would make more sense
Electrical
for him
assistant.
to not use
Number 3.
CGI.
Right.
When Peter Jackson gets in with CGI, I find like the combination doesn't work really well.
I agree.
But when he does practical effects and true storytelling, I think he can get this sort of environment really well.
Right.
So you have to do something that's very that it focuses on the actual environment that's surrounding whatever the story is that you're telling.
What if him and James Wan were to get together to do that Swamp Thing?
So
movie?
my first thought actually
I was wondering if that was where you were going.
So
with that.
my
Yeah.
first thought is Swamp Thing, because I mean, I think that that Swamp Thing needs practical effects. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it does not work because it can look hokey. And the fact is the main character can't be CGI, because if your main character is CGI, then there's no realism in whatever you're doing, and I'm completely disconnected from whatever you're doing. So
Are you telling me that you didn't love Stuart Little?
the only
Look at your face.
God
Look at your
damn it!
face.
God damn
the
it!
only exception is
Stuart Little.
and Stuart Little and those new Planet of the Apes movies,
Fuck those.
because Caesar is like that. Those performances.
Did you
are
watch that
incredible.
last one though? I could
Yeah.
not get through the first half an hour because
Really?
because all it is just CGI monkeys talking to each other.
Oh, I dig it.
I couldn't do it. I just I tried, but I couldn't do
Okay.
it.
How high?
No.
How high?
I wasn't.
How high?
I wasn't. I'm a father.
You weren't
monster. No, I know I
then.
wasn't.
How high?
So do you think you would want an actual like Swamp Thing specific movie, or maybe something say like Justice League Dark, like the magic side?
Justice
of
League
things?
Dark, I think would be good, but when you start talking about the magic, then it kind
And
of
he goes straight CGI. and
Right.
then you're-
exactly.
then
So
it's
you
over.
have to be
But you
really.
have so many real-ish kind of characters like Constantine, Zatanna, Phantom Stranger.
I think it's too much though, because also though I think if anybody can handle too many characters, it's got to be.
Well, no, because he had 13 dwarves and he had 12 hours of film, and I still can't remember who was whom in the fucking Hobbit. And I
That's
know
true.
Lord of the Rings.
But Lord of the Rings, there was the multitude of
Yeah.
characters. Who? God, nobody likes that joke except for us.
Go back to issue number 3.
If you like that joke, please tweet at us.
Let us know who you are so we can unfollow you.
Who?
'Cause no sensible person should like that joke.
Blocked.
Unsubscribe.
Just go to our last Instagram post and write hashtag hoo.
Sure. So for me,
don't
yeah,
ask-
I guess for me, I keep going back to it's got to be Swamp Thing. I need to see a Swamp Thing movie. Though if we're getting a TV show, I doubt we're going to get a movie.
I think Peter Jackson had a bit of a history with sort of like horror-y kind of things though too, so that kind of makes sense.
Though at the end of the day, you want Guillermo del Toro to do.
Well,
Swamp
he was
Thing.
the one that was kind of working on a Justice League Dark movie, and then the whole thing kind of collapsed. Like he wasn't.
It's unfortunate. What about you? I mean, this is your boy.
Well, hold on. Can I press pause on this for a second?
Sure.
It just says that there's a TV series in the works. They're not saying that it's like confirmed to
It
happen.
is.
Okay, movie out of it.
I mean, they may as well do that. But Peter Jackson. Oh God, that's tough, man. But
Right?
I would think maybe I'm gonna pitch something a little weird. Maybe something like if the version of Hawkman or Hawkgirl that they might choose to do
Ooh.
was the Silver Age one, where they're like space aliens, where you have to explore a whole culture of like Thanagar.
I'm fearful of him doing space, but yes.
But like I guess what I'm trying to get at is I think he did a good job in Lord of the Rings of really like setting the tones of the different cultures. And I mean, obviously Tolkien did the heavy lifting there, but he still like put it to screen in a way that was really like respectful of the material. So I want to put him maybe in a seat where he has to show off something bigger than just a single character, like a whole like heritage or a whole lineage of that character. So something like if you did an adaptation of like, it would have to be quite the adaptation, but like Ranthanagar War. So these two alien civilizations going to war, and it's Hawkman and Adam Strange and Hawkgirl in there. Like maybe something like that. I'd be
Here's
into. Maybe that means what I really want is Green Lantern Corps for him.
So here's what I just thought
Like-
for him. Because I was just like, did he do Lovely Bones? And then he totally did. Mr. Miracle.
Ooh, oh, like but the Ava DuVernay is already doing New Gods.
Yeah.
But you just mean like a solo Mr.
Just a
Miracle movie?
solo.
Yeah, maybe.
Just,
Yeah.
I think he could get that dark. Like, because I was just like,
You're thinking of the current Mr. Miracle, like
Yeah.
right? Like the.
I'm also just thinking of like, I'm gonna call him out, but Kyle Clark is like was just like offhandedly writing just for creative writing purposes. Wrote like a treatment for like a movie
right.
for Mr. Miracle, and I'm like thinking about that treatment that he sent me,
Right.
plus Peter Jackson doing that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I think any of those.
I think because have you seen The Lovely Bones?
Yeah,
of course you have. You love Peter Jackson.
No, I just like that.
Smoking
movie.
cigarettes, you know.
I forgot that was a brand of cigarettes.
It's so weird. Every time I laugh, it makes me laugh. But I think like him doing something like that, who has this like super dark undertones, would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fuck. Peter Jackson's better than people give him credit for.
The Death of Superman releases first official trailer.
Yeah, this is that two-parter that we were talking about. That's a more faithful adaptation than the original Superman Doomsday cartoon.
Have you seen that yet?
Ago.
I can pull it up.
Let's do the Wayne's World and cut back. Cut back after we watched it.
So not to be that guy about.
Wait, are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
But like, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's a bully. Like, I thought Krypton was the one thing that you could. Oh, bullying. Yeah, no, that was the one thing that you couldn't stand.
What do you mean? Why would you think he couldn't stand Krypton?
He's Superman. Isn't
Why-
isn't Krypton like his issue?
No, it's only an issue because it's gone.
There's one thing I can't stand. It's illegal aliens.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
Yeah, there you go.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's my homeworld that exploded.
So as somebody who doesn't give a shit about Superman, you can understand
Yeah.
my lack
Okay, but
of knowledge on that one.
generally,
Eh.
I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of a.
It's pretty.
as far as trailers go, it doesn't do a great
There
job.
is
It seemed
so
like-
much room for that to be a huge, hilarious comedy. Like he's like, I have to get back to
Why
work.
do you want it to be a
Pan to
comedy?
him sitting at his desk at the magazine.
Why do you want the death of Superman to be a comedy?
Because think about how like ridiculous it already is. Like the death of Superman, didn't he die and then just come back anyways?
But
Like
that's
who
what this
gives
is a movie
shit?
of. What do you think they're doing?
I think my issue.
The difference is that this is set in their like New 52 kind of movie universe, so it's a slightly different cast.
Which I'm okay with. Like, I don't care about the cast. I mean, nobody's like drawing me in as like an amazing character, but
And
it's
Aquaman looks like the old one, which is lame to me. No,
Because he's not Jason Momoa.
Momoa.
Right.
Jason Momoa.
The trailer doesn't, to me, do a great job.
it doesn't
But
show any of the
Oh, it doesn't do
dying part.
justice.
well, why would they show
like
that?
post death.
Well, but it's a two-parter. This is probably just the first part, right? Because the second part will be like the reign of the Supermen, where like those four imposters show up, and then Superman comes back from the dead. I think
My
this is probably
favorite
just the
part
first
is
part.
the end when Lex Luthor is like, it would make my job a lot easier.
right, like if Doomsday killed.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's hilarious. Like that's really good. That's good writing.
Yeah, I know you're all in for comedy. Yeah,
But not just like haha Seth Rogen bullshit comedy. I want like more
another great impression.
yeah, no, nailed
That's
it.
so fun.
I want like kind of like morbid like dark humor to me is my jam.
Yeah,
And you're not going to get that in Superman though.
That's so bullshit. Stupid.
But what about the juxtaposition of like having this like super like patriotic like positive guy getting killed? That should be your jam.
Not even a little bit.
You don't like him because he's
I don't like him because he's lame. I don't like him because he's like we went over this
yeah.
before.
Compassion and hope are lame.
Nope, you're
Yuck.
missing it.
Give up.
We already went over why I don't like Superman, so I'm not going to get back.
I think
into
I
that.
paraphrased it pretty well.
No, you
yeah.
didn't.
I appreciate that.
Fuck you both. I think the reality for me on that is no. I'm not going to watch that.
Well, yeah, that's not a surprise to me.
So what we need to do is we need to find a really good animator and just get them to sit down with me and we'll do this thing right.
if you've
Dark comedy, The Death of Superman, if you're in,
if
I'm
you can
in.
imagine a
I will help
crazier
write
movie
that.
than Batman Ninja, it's whatever Colin would pitch as a Superman movie.
Well, if you want flat like Web 2.0 graphics for a Superman, you go to this guy. It's me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I'm an illustrator. It's fine.
Speaking of flat,
Dave Rossi's favorite thing: dead silences during the episode.
it's all for you, buddy.
A Batman, the animated series tabletop game is coming our way.
Fuck yes.
So like an RPG.
Well, tabletop, like a fucking board game.
Like Monopoly.
Yeah, but I mean not like it's is it an RPG where you'd like?
Well, tabletop is a broad term, right?
Well, that's what I mean. I'm trying to discern what it actually is because you blindsided me with that one. But I'm in no matter what it is. Like it could basically just be a skin for like Mousetrap or something. Like Arkham Asylum.
It's a zany
Mousetrap.
action, a crazy contraption. The
The
fun
joke.
is happening. It's Batman.
That's actually awesome. Richard, good job.
I didn't know where I was going with that. I'll be honest. I didn't know I was going to end it. I was like, Batman works perfect.
I thought you were going to try to rhyme like something about Batman's back snapping.
I didn't know, and I was like, I'm glad I ended up with rhyming that.
But I'm in for no matter what it is. But
so yeah,
curious.
it's getting a miniature tabletop board game that will put a smile on anyone's face, not the Joker's.
Holy shit! So it is like an RPG. That's dope.
It's called Gotham Under Siege. The game is first teased last week with a tweet showing the characters' miniatures that have been created for a game, which included Batman, Batgirl, Robin, Catwoman, and a tag team duo of Commissioner Gordon and Officer Renee Montoya.
Nice.
Ooh, very good. Designed by Richard something or other and Michael something or other, with artwork by Table Taffy and Liarno something or other.
Great producing. By the
I'm
way.
not going to fucking try to read these things. It sounds like an
You
asshole
mean
or racist.
names?
Who knows? Let's one of 5 players take the role of Batman and his friends they have to fight against the forces trying to destroy Gotham. During each round, the players will have to balance the story card missions while keeping the streets of Gotham free of crime. Villains like the Joker will need to be stopped, of course. But if the Dark Knights neglect the city, there won't be anyone left to save.
Oh shit.
According to PDH Games, story cards all derive from the first seasons of Batman the Animated Series, and IDW Games has promised there will be expansions in the future.
That's dope.
And it will cost about $50, which is exactly the profit we made from those t-shirt sales, so maybe we should buy it.
Okay, can we talk about the t-shirts real quick?
Yeah, sure, what's up?
I feel really bad.
That you didn't buy one?
I didn't buy one, and I'll tell you why.
Because I don't support this, but neither did I.
Because the show is lame. Just like Superman.
Because you guys don't make one that's like cool, like me.
No,
I'm
it's
calling them cool.
God damn it.
I'm sorry.
I am that cool.
Tell me.
It's just wearing my own face on a shirt freaks me out.
But it's barely your face. I'm not that good.
It's pretty accurate.
It freaks me out to wear your face, but I'm doing it.
Just wait till I make the underwear.
How are you going to fit all the hair on it?
Colin's the taint. Moving on.
As per usual.
Now on to this week's theme of natural kingdoms. Speaking of taints,
Natural kingdoms.
Yeah, so the theme for this week, like I mentioned before, we're talking about those powers and those realms like the green, like where Swamp Thing gets his powers. So the green is the natural kingdom of all plant life. The red is all animal life. There's a whole bunch of these sort of mystical kind of other dimensions that are tied into the environment. And I thought it would be interesting to tackle that sort of stuff. So we got a ton of questions. I think it certainly seems
Even
like
the computer's excited.
we just got a new question.
that was it. Yeah. Let's just get right into it. People seem pumped for this theme.
Facebook question.
Going to the face of the book, going to the Facebook.
People
Yeah.
on Facebook have questions.
Yeah, they do. Gonna ask her questions. How about you? Facebook.
I love all these competing theme songs.
Facebook. Party time.
Jeff Van
Well timed.
Sometimes I do. I do.
Jeff Van Meter asks, is the new 52 Animal Man worth reading? How much does it tie into Swamp Thing?
So, short answer, New 52 Animal Man is incredible. I think in many ways it's better than Grant Morrison's Animal Man run.
That's some...
It's
Granimal Man.
It's amazing. It's Jeff Lemire, and he writes a really incredible story about Buddy Baker and the Red, and about trying to protect his
Good old
family.
BB.
Yeah. And then it actually does cross over with Swamp Thing through a story called Rot World, where the black, like the rot, takes over.
Dwayne Johnson, the Rock?
Yeah. Yeah, Dwayne the Rot Johnson. That's
His name is Dwayne. Dwayne the Rock.
Dwayne.
Dwayne.
My name's Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I got the color of the brown.
Jesus, no. But yeah, so it does tie into Swamp Thing.
Weirdly enough, he's from Duluth, Minnesota.
Through a story called Rot World. I would absolutely recommend...
Dwayne from Duluth.
Okay, I'll just wait.
You're waiting all night, bruh.
Yes.
Oh my God. That was so loud. I'm so glad I figured out how to connect my phone to the mixer.
I'm not.
Oh.
I gotta start recording this in my trunk.
Yes.
Your what?
My trunk.
His tongue.
Of my car.
He chews you.
The tongue. Yes.
Sorry.
Definitely read it.
Continue.
Oh, now I can?
No.
Jesus. Yeah, Jeff, if you made it through that fucking quagmire, it's a great series. You should read it.
You sound psyched.
Giggity.
Gordon Rugg. No? Okay. Will the Grey Kingdom ever get its own series?
Yeah, the Grey Kingdom is also known as... Well, there's a couple of different ones. But it's known as the Mycos. It's the collective consciousness of all, like, fungus. So there's plant life, there's animal life. The Grey is like fungal life, and has its own avatar. It weirdly, like unlike some other ones, doesn't have a parliament. But Richard headbutting his own microphone. Perfect. Amazing.
Why do you have a fuck you sign?
I just made it, actually.
Oh, okay.
I had a sign and I wrote fuck you on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the Grey Kingdom is likely to get its own series. It does feature from time to time in Swamp Thing, or, you know, like in an Animal Man series or something like that. That makes sense. But I think it would need maybe a more sympathetic avatar than it currently has, to be able to hold down its own series. I think even as a mini series, I don't see it happening.
I'm bored just talking about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that crazier things haven't become miniseries or series of their own. Like Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern, had his own series, which kind of baffles me. But I think my safe bet is that no, the Grey Kingdom is not likely to get its own series, because Swamp Thing doesn't even have a series right now. So, yeah.
So we're going to Twitter.
Let's do it.
Chad Bokelman wants to do some talking.
Oh, Bo. Gin really hit me hard, guys. I'm just going to tell you.
Coleman. Let's talk about Green Lantern. But Chad, you say Green Lantern has nothing to do with the green. Au contraire, mon frere. Or are you forgetting both the New 52, Earth 2, Alan Scott, or the tangentially connected Just Imagine Stan Lee's Green Lantern, Len Lewis? What the fuck?
So, thank you. So two different things in there. So yeah, on Earth 2.
Oh, just two?
Yeah, on Earth 2, there is
on the New 52.
Yeah, the New 52's Earth 2.
Oh,
is home to
that was by accident, but he's real proud of himself right now.
Younger versions of like Justice Society members. So there is a younger version of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and in that world, and this is also tied to sort of his original origin, though they never put it in these terms. He gains his power not from the power of will, like the Prime Earth Green Lantern, but from like the natural world. It's called the Starheart, but they tie it in that book to the green of Earth 2. So
Care Bear countdown. Who's that coming? Somewhere up in the sky. Starheart. Sorry.
Oh, the Starheart. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so Alan Scott, he gets his power from the Green on Earth too. So he's basically his Earth's avatar in the way that Swamp Thing is the Green's avatar on the Prime Earth. The other one is a little stranger. So there was a thing in the 90s where they got Stan Lee to write his version of what he would have done with some classic DC characters.
Here's what I'll tell you, Spider Friends.
And then I shit on Jack Kirby's grave. So Stan Lee did a bunch of different books. Some of them are okay. Some of them kind of suck. Some of them are all right. But his version of Green Lantern, his name is Len Lewis, and he draws his power from Yggdrasil, like the World Tree, which, if that is ringing any bells to sort of casual comic fans, that's Norse mythology. That's Thor. Like the 9 realms are all the branches of Yggdrasil. There's a scene in the first Thor movie where he talks about it. But so in Stan Lee's version of Green Lantern, he draws his power from like this natural kind of force that sort of ties these realms together.
But isn't it a Marvel thing? So isn't it not even canon at that point?
Well, no, it's not. Well, no, Yggdrasil is actual Norse mythology, so it's not just Marvel. Anyone can use that.
Fuck that guy, man. And he's constantly trying to pull into his other universe.
But Stan Lee's Just Imagine universe is Earth 6 of the DC multiverse.
Just the Marvel universe?
No, there are Marvel universe analogs in the DC multiverse. Earth 7 is meant to be... Earth 7 and Earth 8 are meant to be like the ultimate Marvel universe and the main 616 continuity.
Really?
But like they're like pastiches. Like instead of Captain America, there's American Crusader. And Machine Head is that world's Iron Man.
Got a machine head.
Behemoth is the Hulk. But Earth 6 is where Stan Lee's Just Imagine universe is. And that is where Len Lewis, Green Lantern, who draws his power from Yggdrasil, the World Tree, still exists, technically as part of DC canon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking Superman has a question.
Sure.
If all the current avatars were to sever their connections with their elements, which characters would you like to see become the new avatars of the Red, Green, and Rot?
Ooh.
What do you think of Charles? Oh, there's a lot there. There's 2 questions.
Do you want to do a brief sort of synopsis of what each of those are?
Yeah. So the Green, like I said, is the collective consciousness of all plant life.
Yeah.
And Swamp Thing is their avatar. And Swamp Thing is that's like a lineage. There have been many, many Swamp Things.
Colin's totally connected to the Green, right, buddy?
I didn't realize we had Pauly Shore in the room with us.
No one ever does. The Red is the
420, right, bro?
Well, sorry, before I move on to the Red. So because there are all these past avatars, when an avatar is sort of
back in the closet,
served their time, they join what's called the Parliament of Trees, which is like the governing force of the Green.
I always prefer the Grand Funk of Trees, but
sure.
Parliament's
the Red is the collective consciousness of all animal life, and it's governed by the Parliament of Limbs. Buddy Baker, the Animal Man, is the current avatar of the Red. The Rot, otherwise known as the Black, is governed by the Parliament of Decay. Its main avatar was Anton Arcane, who is Swamp Thing's archenemy. He's like a necromancer and things like that.
So what are the features that generally come with?
But the current avatar of the Rot is Abigail Arcane, Swamp Thing's love interest.
So what's the difference between the Green and the Rot? Is it just like...
The Green is plant life and the Rot is death.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they're
one is literally oxygen and the other one is literally 0 oxygen.
Sure.
Sure,
sure.
Yeah.
One, there's life and death, basically. The Red and the Green are both on the side of life. The Rot is on the side of death.
The real question is, though,
where's the pizza?
Sure, thank you. Yeah,
that's in the Red.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
that's the tomato sauce.
Well, it's a little bit of both. The Green is the vegetables, and the Red is the pepperoni. So
that's fair. I can't argue with that.
So the current avatars of the Red, that's Animal Man.
The cheese.
The Green is Swamp Thing. The Rot is Abigail Arcane. So if they weren't the avatars, what other characters do I think would best fit those things?
Is it like other than Swamp Thing, or who should be Swamp Thing? Or
well, let's do other than
Okay.
instead of just someone becoming Swamp Thing. Let's say like who else? I mean, I think an obvious choice for the green is probably Poison Ivy, who has really I'm about to use a terrible pun, turned over a new leaf. Is much less villainous than she ever used to be. I think Poison Ivy would be an interesting choice. For the red, technically, if Buddy wasn't the Avatar, his daughter Maxine would be, because she's the one that's meant to be the Avatar. But if neither of them were in the picture, there are other characters that tap into the red. So maybe someone like Vixen or Beast Boy or Bwana Beast, or any one of those people that kind of has like a connection to the animal kingdom or animal powers. Even maybe like Solivar, like the leader of Gorilla City, or Detective Chimp, or Rex the Wonder Dog. Like any of those might be interesting choices too, to have like a non-human avatar of the red might be neat.
Mm-hmm.
For the rot, I think I would pick Black Hand. He's a Green Lantern villain who is technically dead. He was the one that he basically killed himself and started the Blackest Night. He became like the entity of the Black Lantern Corps.
And Richard and I are going to stick with Dwayne the Rot Johnson.
I mean, do you have your own pitches for who you think? I
just did.
Other than Dwayne the Rot Johnson.
It's Dwayne.
Yeah, I get it.
For the Rot, what about Spectre?
Because he's dead?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the Spectre's already got a lot on his plate. It would be interesting to see how someone that's meant to be kind of in the service of God also is in the service of this like force of decay.
Yeah.
That might be interesting.
And then the red Gorilla Grodd.
Okay, right. So going the same route, like not a human avatar.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, that's super dangerous, but that might serve the red, if they want to take over, which does sometimes happen with these kingdoms, as they don't necessarily want to preserve the balance.
Exactly. I think I would go the same as Poison Ivy for the green. I mean, there's not a ton of characters that connect to the green, but in a traditional sense. But
yeah, there are a few, but I think Poison Ivy is the reasonable choice. Yeah.
What do you think of Charles Soule's run of Swamp Thing, adding machine and bacteria as other elements with new avatars?
Right. So we've talked about the red, the green, and the black. We've talked a little bit about the gray, which is the Mycos, which is the fungal kingdom.
Oh, I thought that was a Greek yogurt.
Yeah. No. Mycos. Is it?
Look it up.
Is that a brand? Okay. Producer Richard. That we don't need to produce that.
Nope.
Come on,
but Charles Soule's run introduced two other things. So there's the Divided is the kingdom of bacteria.
John Stamos would be very disappointed in you.
The Rippers can.
It's oikos. I know what you're talking about. It's oikos, not mycos.
Whatever.
The Divided is the kingdom of bacteria.
Yeah,
that has
bacteria is needed for a Greek yogurt, so let's look it up.
Total.
Gotta get those cultures.
Yeah. The Divided was like a hitherto hidden kingdom until people, and with microscopes discovered bacteria. Like literally that was what sort of brought them into the forefront. And so that was one that Charles Soule introduced. And then the other one is the Metal, which is the Machine Kingdom. So basically like machine sentience gains its own kingdom near the end of that run of Swamp Thing.
Is that like the one where the street has...
No, it's not Danny the Street.
Oh, okay.
This is like actual like machines, computers. They were initially called the Calculus, but they choose a human avatar called the Machine Queen, and there's basically a big battle to try and contain this kingdom. And Swamp Thing ends up victorious, and that's the end of that run of Swamp Thing. I really like that. I like the idea of opening it up because there are more things going on than just plants, animals, death. So I think it's anytime you can introduce new things, it's interesting. And actually in Swamp Thing 40, which was the end of Charles Soule's run, we are briefly introduced to like the story realm. Like Swamp Thing has to sort of escape, and he uses the fact that there's like pages of a book are made of plant material, and he uses that to escape, but he ends up trapped in like a story dimension.
It's a regular Macaulay Culkin.
Page Master.
I didn't know if you would get that quickly. I'm proud of you.
I know Page Master. We only saw that very briefly, but I think you could also make the argument that Soule introduced the idea that like story itself.
There is no Dana. There is only Soule.
God damn it. I didn't want to like that. So yeah, short answer, I really liked Charles Soule's run. It basically piggybacks on what Scott Snyder started with that New 52 run of Swamp Thing.
Snyder.
The one and only. Yeah. Yeah. I would read it. It's a great run. And that whole Machine Queen arc is really interesting.
She's a machine queen.
Yes, she is.
Queen made out of a machine queen.
She's kind of made out of steel. Oh God! I'm gonna do so much work for this episode.
We're going into the weird
because we aren't already there.
No, that's the name of the handle.
Oh, okay.
That was my segue.
So it's not just another natural kingdom.
It's not just
where we are the avatars.
Oh, it's not just what I say when I have sex with Colin. Going into the weird.
No, that's the strange. Oh, I'm so ashamed.
Gotta get that strange.
So ashamed.
They call me Doctor Strange. Yeah, I learned a thing or two about comic books.
Nice. Just the wrong ones.
Yeah, just not the ones we talk about. Yeah.
Oh, is that
It's Marvel.
Oh, God damn it.
You were about to ask if it was DC, as if that's not what we talk about.
I understand that there may be some good discussion around the fact that Poison Ivy has evolved from a gimmicky villain to an anti-hero with strong ties to the green.
Yeah, so I mean...
That's not a question.
In the same way that that like characters like Catwoman have sort of
That's a comment.
Evolved. They've sort of moved beyond their criminal pasts. Poison Ivy has gotten there too, and there's a bit of an online community of people who want to see that continue, and there have been a couple of arcs in comics. Some of them have admittedly been flashback arcs, but there have been some arcs where Poison Ivy's portrayed maybe too like villainously, given where she's been going. Like during the No Man's Land arc, she was like protecting orphans that were stranded in like Gotham Park and things like she does still have like a humanity. Obviously her first love is the green and plant life and that, but she does still have like a connection.
It's all about those dollar bills, y'all.
You know what? Because you guys keep making the weed thing, I am going to talk very briefly about something. There is a story in Detective Comics or Batman or something in the 70s or 80s where the Floronic Man has a plan. He teams up with Poison Ivy and he's going to flood Gotham with cheap weed that he makes out of himself because he's also like a plant guy.
That's messed up.
Good for him.
The story is called Reefer Madness.
Of course it is. Yeah.
So, but Poison Ivy has moved beyond that sort of like villainous past. So there's a community online. I think you'll often find them. They use like hashtag like Poison Ivy League and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they really want to see this character like grow and develop. Poison Ivy has been a member of the Birds of Prey, like on the team.
Good pun, Doc.
Yeah, I'm doing what I can. And you know, even in the video games, in Arkham Knight, Poison Ivy is like a big key to Batman's success against the Scarecrow in that game. I think there's a lot to be said that she's become more interesting by being less villainous. So I think the lesson in there is that if you are a fan of Poison Ivy and you want to see that, you should be vocal about it. And, you know, if you see a story that you feel kind of maybe goes the other way, like tweet about it. Like, it doesn't mean like that your voice is the only important one and they should immediately listen to you and change everything. But if those people say that enough, then that becomes the thing that they write. You know, like they want people to be engaged and read comics. So if that's your opinion, you should share it.
And people want to write what other people want to read, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I can definitely appreciate that. Is Swamp Thing a bad guy or a good guy?
So here's the thing. Swamp Thing
He's
is
a swamp guy.
Swamp Thing is a good guy, but there's often a thing in these stories where the green or the red, these kingdoms have their own agendas. To each of them, they would want to see the world just them.
Yeah.
And it's all about like the balance, right? And so Swamp Thing it's gone back and forth whether or not he was actually human or just plants that thought they used to be human. That was the big Alan Moore twist, was that he wasn't a human turned into plants, is that they were plants that absorbed the consciousness of Alec Holland. But so because of that, he actually is balancing those things. Like the green may want something specific, but he's trying to preserve the balance. He wouldn't protect the green at the expense of 7 billion human lives. He might protect the green at the expense of like a few of them. Like sometimes I think Swamp Thing would make that call, but generally he is trying to maintain a bit of a balance. I think what they've done with Poison Ivy is that she used to be very much just the domination of plant life, the survival and domination of plant life at the expense of everyone else. And she's kind of been recapturing her humanity over the years in comics. And yeah, so I think there's something interesting where you draw your power from something that's very monolithic, but you're trying to be a little more, you're trying to navigate a more complex world than what your powers want. I think that's kind of
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
That was a good.
I don't know.
Kid Caballero asks,
Oh, Kid Caballero.
Oh, damn it. I did that last
That
time.
racist thing that you did last time.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, you can't help it. You think of the.
I'm thinking of the three caballeros.
Yeah, you
the
can't
whole
help yourself.
time.
okay, if I just call him Kid Caballero, does that help you
No.
not be a total racist
I'm
shitbag?
not-
Yeah, I don't know because regardless, I'm going to go Kid Caballero, and then it's going to turn into yeah. I can't help himself. See, he has no choice. It's beyond his capabilities to stop him. So
Son of
it's
a
fine.
bitch.
Were Beast Boy's powers always connected from the red, or is that only a New 52 thing? I was not a fan of them changing his skin color to red to fit that, but I guess it made sense in context.
So the original Beast Boy, he has animal powers. He can transform into any animal, but his thing is that his skin and hair are green, and no matter what he transforms into, he's always green. If he turns into a gorilla, it's a green gorilla. If he turns into an eel, it's a green eel.
Grineal.
Yes. But Beast Boy's in his like original appearances, he was his name is Garfield Logan or Logan Garfield.
Either way, he likes lasagna.
I can't believe I'm getting that confused. But,
Hates Mondays.
Yeah.
And
but
so do
basically
we.
he had like this illness and he was being cured with a serum that was sort of derived from a green monkey, and it turned him green and gave him animal powers. In the New 52, they tied his powers directly to the red, that he was tapping into what's also known as the morphogenetic field, like the collective consciousness of all animal life. And so in the New 52, they actually changed his coloring to be completely red. And a lot of people didn't like that because it wasn't classic and blah, blah, blah. He's back to green now again, but his powers are still more connected to the red than they ever were pre-Flashpoint. I think with some of these things, there's a bit of like, it's maybe implied that people with similar powers in some way are tapping into the same kind of force. You know, like magician, there's different types of magic in DC. Some come from the Lords of Order and Chaos. Some come from being a member of like a race of magicians.
Yeah.
Like there's different types, but I think they all essentially tap into the same kind of primordial magics of the universe. And I think the same thing is true with animal powers, plant powers. It may never have been expressed like succinctly because it might not have been something that the editors were thinking about, but I think you can reasonably assume that in some way, always these characters were tapping into something similar, but they've gone out of their way to say it really expressly since the New 52. So characters like Beast Boy, Vixen, Animal Man, Bwana Beast, they're all tapping into the red in some manner. Some have more access to it than others. Buddy Baker is the avatar of the red. He gets the most powers from the red.
So would you say that Swamp Thing has more access to the green than Poison Ivy?
Yes. Because Poison Ivy, I don't think, can get into the green. She
Yeah.
can't go talk to the Parliament of Trees, but her powers she can tap into like the power set of the green.
Yeah.
But she's also less powerful than Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
He by being the avatar, he is the green in its full sort of might. She kind of taps into it. Same with the Floronic Man, kind of taps into it. So yeah, I think you can make the argument that they were always that way, but they have expressly, since Flashpoint, basically tied those characters together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dave Rossi's got some questions. Just one.
He's got some one question.
He's got some of the one question he's got.
He's got some one questions. Has there ever been reference to these realms existing on the other worlds?
Oh.
If so, are they connected with ours in any way, either via avatar or other element? And god damn it, I said that he had a couple of questions, and wasn't I right?
Yeah, I guess it's in one sentence. Or no, it is two sentences. You're right. Goddamn. Goddamn.
I said goddamn.
So, yeah, you can think of other worlds in two ways. We've already talked about on parallel Earths, there are versions of the green. Like on Earth 2, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, is the avatar of the green. Solomon Grundy is the avatar of the gray, which is that world's version of the rot. But even in just the one Prime universe, what we're talking about is if you go to a different planet.
Well, you have connection to that.
And the answer is yes. Animal Man and Swamp Thing have both had like cosmic adventures, and they are able to tap into it. In the old Animal Man stories, it was because his powers came from what they called the morphogenetic field, which is like the web.
Were you just about to take credit?
Well, I just meant like I
It's like I always say.
I know it sounded
gravity, right?
It sounded like me taking credit, but what I meant was just I've used that word already this episode. But yes, thank you. You're right. I didn't come up with it.
Cite your references, Doc.
I'm trying to just insinuate myself, and I'm trying to get those sweet royalty checks. But yeah, so both of those characters have cosmic adventures, and they have tapped into and like manifested the plant or animal life of other worlds. Now, that doesn't mean that all life everywhere is connected the same way. Like the Parliament of Limbs is not made up of all of the animal consciousness of the universe. It's just Earth. But I think because he has those powers, what it means is that maybe there are those life webs just isolated on other planets, and you're able to tap into them. In the way that like you can bring like your electronic device into someone else's house and plug into their like a socket and charge your phone. We're all using electricity, but it doesn't mean we're all constantly like sharing each other's electricity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's maybe a clunky analogy, but I think there's maybe something to that. Yeah, because Animal Man certainly has had alien adventures, even during Infinite Crisis. Like he and Starfire and some other characters were off in another part of the universe. But yeah, so they can tap into things on other worlds, but it doesn't mean that the parliaments are like all connected or anything like that.
The Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
Hello, listeners. This episode of the Dr. DC podcast is thanks to me, Great Lakes. Yes, welcome to my grooming company. I come to you today to present a bevy of new products I have. My grooming company is meant to be easy and ready to use, rain or shine. When I'm not fighting the underwater villains of the Great Lakes of Ontario, I need many a product to make my hair and my body feel and smell great. All my products are purposely designed and environmentally responsible, handmade in my secret lair in northern Ontario, ready for adventure whenever I may find myself there. Whether fighting the Lake Erie Bass Man or the Grand Rapids Bastard, these products are exactly what I need, because Great Lakes is feeling very generous. Now, my regular products are 10% off using this promo code DRDC Podcast. That's right. Just go to GreatLakesGrooming.com and use this promo code today. Now, on to the show. Great Lakes away!
You know what I'm not excited about, though? All these questions on Instagram.
All these questions on Instagram.
haven't said
Take some photos and answer them.
That was pretty good.
That was
But we
bad.
haven't said that we're back, you maniacs.
Oh.
And we're back.
And we're back!
Now do that amazing thing again.
It's going Instagram's questions.
Oh, never get that magic back.
Kill that. Sweet
Yeah, just
Sweet,
yeah,
sweet.
that yeah.
So sweet.
That's
So
sweet,
good.
sweet.
Yeah, you got that.
You know what they say? Once it's
right?
Classic.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Anyways, questions on Instagram apparently are a thing.
By the way, keep this shit coming. This is amazing. I fucking love how many questions we're getting on Instagram now. Everyone, make an Instagram account. Ask us questions there.
Dave Rossi, get an Instagram account.
Dashel, turn off the podcast. Make your dad get an Instagram account.
You get an Instagram account too. Ask questions only with your father's approval.
Yeah, never listen to the show.
Hey Dashel, I know it's just you and me talking right now. What's up? How's school going? Everything all right?
This makes me uncomfortable.
This is really weird.
yeah.
What?
Let's go to the Instagram.
We're
questions.
bros.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Instagram questions.
Hey, who's this question from?
The nerd fonts.
Hey, all right.
Or is it then Erds fonts?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, you're
Okay.
I'll take Framers Mother's full. 100.
Anal bum covers for 400.
Famous titties. It's like, that's titles, Mr. Connery.
Oh, yes.
Oh god, I miss Saturday Night Live when it was funny. I've always been curious how this all actually works.
So what you do is you get like a recording equipment, and then
No.
you mean
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Sorry.
The word morphogenetic field gets tossed around a lot in regards to Animal Man.
The word I created.
Morphogenetic.
The morphogenetic field.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously.
Morphogenetic.
Keep saying it. It just ups my royalty check.
Right. Anyways. Is it really just the field of energy put off by animals, plants, etc.? If so, where does the intelligence inherent in it come from? It cannot just be linked to Earth, right? Because Swamp Thing was cosmic for a short bit, and Animal Man has had space missions. I guess I'm just trying to sort out the comic book logic of how it works. I love the framing of this question. And then there's this that happens.
It just really just keeps drilling down.
I'm just trying to figure it out, man.
That's what we're here for.
Do you know what that sort of phrasing makes me think of?
Tell me.
Because you can see like the train of thought moving. One time,
What's the deal with airplane?
What's the deal with the Animal Man?
One time I was chatting about comic books with my father, and I was trying to explain how like sometimes in comic books magic is like the Achilles heel of science.
Yeah.
But the sentence that I said out loud was Shadow Thief killed Firestorm using Shining Knight's magic sword with no context. And my dad just looked at me and it was like, I don't know what you just said. And we had to like unpack it step by step. That's why questions like this make me think of. It's like, there's so many things. Like, yeah, the morphogenetic field is tapped into like, what is the intelligence of the animal and plant life? Because they've been on other planets before. It's like, if you take it just like that, there's so many pieces to it.
I'm so excited for the Chief of Comics, Dr. DC Senior, to come on.
Yeah, I'm tune into, I think it's going to end up being like issue 61 or something like that.
Ooh.
We're getting there because it's 57. So
yeah.
Okay, I've a little bit talked about this question, but I'll just like reiterate just to be succinct.
What's the deal?
The morphogenetic field was
you're out of control.
Is what Animal Man used to get his powers from. It's now sort of been called the Red, but basically, yeah, it's like a life web. The Parliament of Limbs that governs the Red is based on Earth in the way that the Parliament of Trees that governs the Green is based on Earth. But I think because of the nature of the powers of Swamp Thing and Animal Man, they can probably tap into similar life webs on other worlds. I don't think that it's all 100% connected all the time.
Yeah.
That if you're on Earth, you could instantly summon a plant from Thanagar or something like that.
On Earth as it is in Thanagar.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly that. But I do think that their powers allow them sort of access to similar versions of that on other planets. I don't think they've ever expressly shown like another planet's Parliament of Trees or whatever it would be called. But I think that's maybe what's implied by them being able to use their powers.
Hey, Thanagar. Let me see your parliament of trees. Girl.
How did you make that dirty? How did you manage that? How did you make that dirty?
Hey, let me see what's behind them bushes.
Oh, no.
Get in that parliament of trees.
This is what happens when you don't co-host. When you leave these gaps, he can just say things. This is why I instituted the airplane
My
mode
question,
rule.
my bigger question.
I just got into that green, yo.
Why are we complaining about that? That's hilarious. What comedian are you channeling right now?
It's not a comedian. Slowly getting more.
It's more like Rocky Balboa.
Hey, I'm just...
It also kind of sounds like Yogi Bear a little bit.
Hey, yo.
On this note,
Take that again. Just trying to get to that green. Let me see the parliament of trees.
Are you doing Stallone doing Yogi Bear?
Hey, there I go.
Hey there, Adrian.
Check
Where's a bunch of raw eggs in a glass? Is it in my picnic basket? No,
out,
It sounds like French Canadian Rocky.
Adrian. Check out my robot slave.
he did have a robot slave.
He ain't it.
Amazing.
Oh.
Next question is from Stump Chunkman.
It's a stump and the chunk. Stump Chunkman, step into the stump. Just gonna keep extending that name. I really have to get that into like a soundbite.
Yeah, just make a
What would be
soundboard
a
of that.
good starting off point, reading wise, to jump in and learn about each of these?
good jumping off point for the Red and that world is Jeff Lemire's Animal Man. It's the new 52 run of Animal Man.
And a good jumping off point for this podcast would be pretty much any roof above 2 stories.
Oh,
Good call.
he doesn't contribute much, but when he does,
Oh, it's just solid gold, baby. he puts on his pants just like everybody else, one leg at a time.
the only
Except for-
difference is he makes gold records.
Oh, lordy. So,
For the Red, I would definitely say Jeff Lemire's Animal Man run in the new 52. It really explores like the nature of his powers and that other realm and its relationship to the other natural kingdoms, especially when you get into like the series like Rot World. By the same token, I'm actually a big proponent of the new 52 run of Swamp Thing. That's from Scott Snyder through Charles Soule. There is no Dana, only Soule.
thank you.
Yeah. But I would also obviously Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Did I say Swamp Man? Did
I
I just
hope
call him
not.
Swamp Man? How much gin have I had?
Stomp Swampman.
Hey, you kids, you reading that
Swamp Man is
Man
like
comic?
the knockoff version.
You playing your X PlayStation?
I can't afford Swamp Thing, so I read Swamp Man.
You playing that Playbox one?
But I would definitely read.
Yeah, you kids have lots of fun.
Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is pretty seminal. It's a pretty like important like version of that mythos. But really, when you're talking about the sort of the other ones, you either get a little bit in that there's I think it's late in that like saga of the Swamp Thing run. I think that volume 2 run where you sort of are introduced to concepts like the gray and things like that, like the fungal kingdom. But really, a lot of those kingdoms get the forefront in the new 52. It's all about exploring the relationship between the green, the red, the black, the gray, the divided, the rot. Well, I've said the black, but you know what I mean? Like all of the metal, all of those things are in there. So if you want to jump in, maybe just to get a taste of those things and then go back and get like the deep lore, weirdly, I'm going to suggest all new 52 stuff, which is not what I would usually do.
Just read everything.
Well, but what I mean is normally the new 52 is kind of like you're only going to get half the story. But with those ones, I think maybe you get decent exposure to all of those concepts.
Yeah.
It's probably actually good reading that way.
Nice.
K-Cross 202.
For life.
That wasn't your best. You're
K-Cross 2 for life.
there. It is.
That was good.
douching it up. K-Cross. Let's have a little chit chat. You and I, a little aside.
Oh, he's created an army, an Instagram army.
I'm proud of you.
He didn't do this for you.
You stuck it out. You know, you took the ribbon, which is good. But I'm disappointed in the rest of you for not following K-Cross 202.
What do you mean? They are following him.
They
They've
are.
all gone to Instagram.
No, you're wrong.
What?
Because his numbers didn't go up this past week, and I was really hoping that
Oh,
there'd
you
be a
mean
surge
literally
in numbers.
following?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about your side
Did
quest.
you check it?
I did. I just did right now. I was curious.
I forgot about your side quest to get K-Cross 202 more followers.
Well, I know, but he has like closed accounts.
Did you follow him?
I took Instagram off my
Did you
phone.
follow him?
With my personal account?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I should. You're right. I'm part of the problem.
Part of the problem. Hashtag part of the problem.
Between that,
Hashtag me too. Hashtag part of the problem.
No. 100% no. You can't misappropriate something like that. That's
What?
not
I don't
right.
understand. I'm also having a problem with getting him followers. Hashtag me too. I don't understand. I do it. I did it as well.
Oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
Why do you make everything awful?
Because that's what I do. I have verbal poo.
Maybe we need to replace him with Super Todd for a
Yeah,
while.
it can.
No.
Oh!
All of the ones to summon.
Super Todd could definitely do this podcast. But let me first tell you, we need to get rid of the news. We need to get rid of all these questions and just Super Todd 24 hours a day, Periscope.
Maybe Ukrainian Popeye was the way to go.
Look. No, you just get away. Look. I'll tell you. No, you tell me. I need you to get out of here. Well, don't worry. I will get...
Sacre bleu, is there room in here for Jean Valjean?
Oh, Jean-Valjean.
Le dernier des under des hommes de Mars.
See what you made happen, K-Cross 202? This is what happens.
All of you get out of here. Get
Okay,
out.
goodbye.
Get
Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.
K-Cross, I will read your question now. Does Vixen or Beast Boy get their powers from the red?
Yes. Next question. Yeah, like I said,
I was actually really hoping that would just be the way it went.
like I
down.
said, Beast Boy didn't
yes or no?
originally have them from the red, but yes, his powers are tied there now. Even pre-Flashpoint,
I don't think we talked that much about Vixen. though.
Vixen's powers, she gets her powers from this totem that like magically connects her to the animal kingdom, basically, so she can gain the powers of any animal. But it's sort of implied that totem is tapping into the morphogenetic field, which is later revealed to basically just be another word for the red.
Yeah.
And in the New 52, again, it's expressly the red. So yes, both Vixen and Beast Boy get their powers that way. And really, I should mention that all of these realms, I think these count as magic. It's not really, some of them like there are gateways via science, like Poison Ivy becomes Poison Ivy because of a chemical. Same with Alec Holland. He's working on a biorestorative formula, and then he becomes Swamp Thing when he's killed in a swamp. But the actual powers themselves, those realms, they are like magical entities, magical dimensions. So for Vixen, it actually makes a ton of sense because that totem was always expressly like a magical artifact that was connecting her to the animal kingdom. So I think it makes perfect sense that it's also tapping into the red.
Simba, everything the light touches is yours.
Have you seen the movie? None of those.
Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, but when
That's
did
not the
Mufasa
Lion
say
King.
everything I touch is yours?
I said everything the light touches.
Oh, I thought you said everything I touch is yours.
I'll start from the head down to the toe.
No. Cut
You
that.
did this.
Cut
You
that.
did this.
That's
This is
terrible.
your fault.
All right. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I just followed the real Josh Gill on Instagram.
Let's do it.
Oh shit! Handsome son of a bitch.
His Instagram feed is actually rad as fuck.
Yeah, because he's cute as hell.
That's like the most important thing to you about anyone, eh?
That's why I'm on the podcast.
It explains
It
everything.
all makes sense.
Yeah.
It's all followed.
So the real
No, it's the quality content, Colin.
his handle is the real Josh
We're
Gill,
wants to talk.
and I am psyched about that handle.
Yeah.
As though there were any other Josh Gills out there. He's the real one.
I like that.
Hail Josh Gill.
No. I said the real.
Oh.
That'd be weird.
No, that's me being weird.
Why don't we see more of the other kingdoms, not the under kingdoms?
Oh, let me tell you.
Like the clear or the white. Why doesn't the kingdom
Everything the
of
light doesn't
fire
touch is
have
yours,
a name
Colin.
like the green or the red?
Right. So why don't we see kingdoms like the clear or the white? So the white is like the kingdom of air. And the clear is water. Now, what's different about some of these kingdoms? There's also a fire.
Weird that it would be clear, not the blue or something.
It's also sometimes called the blue.
Okay.
What's weird about some of these kingdoms is that, unlike the red or the green, it's not actually connecting the consciousness of life. It's like connecting things via a different, like air doesn't have life just of its own. Like there's maybe life forms floating in it, but air isn't alive. And same with water. But there are these kind of other realms. On Earth 2, where Alan Scott is the avatar of the green, there's like a Parliament of Earth. And there's an avatar of the white, which is like an air elemental. There is an avatar of the blue. It's a water elemental. In Prime continuity, back in an older run of Swamp Thing, you're exposed to the Fire Kingdom. That also ties in like nuclear powers and things like that. I think you could make the argument that a character like Firestorm might draw power from the Fire Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But these ones are, they're kind of weird because they're not tied together by the collective consciousness of actual like life forms, or in the case of the Rot, of like the undead. So there are these other kingdoms that do exist. They're canon. They're part of it, but I would consider them like almost like second tier. Some of the like rationale of them is that maybe they are sort of interconnections between the other kingdoms. So for example, the blue or the clear, if that's the water kingdom, then maybe those that tap into the blue are gaining some access to both the green and the red, the plant and animal life of the ocean. Maybe you can make the argument that Aquaman taps into the power of the blue or the clear, and that's where his like aquatic like telepathy comes from.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Or like
because just a creature is from somewhere, they shouldn't mean that they should have these abilities that like could move the elements around them. So it would make sense that he has to tap into some sort of power. Do all like characters from Atlantis have the abilities that he does?
No.
So I mean, there's got to be some explanation for that.
Yeah, and again, these I'm hypothesizing a little bit. Some things have been hinted at in comics. Some things are expressly said. Some of what I'm saying right now is me making connections that have not specifically been made.
Yeah.
But yeah, with some of those other kingdoms, I think you could reasonably assume that if there's a fire kingdom that is not only fire, but like sort of nuclear power and things like that. And then you have a character like
nuclear,
like Firestorm or like Tokamak or Major Force or like any of these other kind of characters, then maybe they're tied into that somehow. And the same would also be true of the blue and the white. I don't know why we don't see them as much. Maybe because they are slightly more abstract concepts, even more abstract, if you can imagine, than the collective consciousness of all plant life. But and then why doesn't the Kingdom of Fire have a name like the green or the red? That I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't have, like, it's not called the yellow or like the orange.
The really red.
Yeah, the bright red.
Yeah.
The so hot.
Well, if you're going for Pokemon rules, the fire red would work. But
ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't have a name. It's, I think, just called the Kingdom of Fire. That's a pretty dope name. So maybe just go with that.
Ding, 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 ding,
what a terrible, lame answer to end the episode.
Well, despite the answers that we were given, the questions were really great. If you want to ask more questions like that, you can go to the various social media and online digital platforms.
Do we want to like keep doing the thing where we like announce what
hell yeah
the theme is? Because I think that we're
when you know, it's great that we can say that.
Next week, by popular demand, people who were sending messages on Twitter, we're going to be talking about war comics.
Ooh, I don't even know what that means.
Like comics literally about soldiers in war, not even really superhero comics. So it could include things like Sergeant Rock, or it could include GI Zombie, or like Weird War Tales, any of those sort of war genre comics. In the way that we did like a romance comic episode, we're going to go to war comics.
And we're bringing our great friend G.I. Ted in. He's seen a lot of stuff. He'll be great.
I'm really concerned about introducing this new character.
Oh my god. So many bodies. So much blood.
All right.
Next week, G.I. Jane.
We'll see you next week, buddy. But yeah, send us your questions, please.
You can send them on Facebook at
Dr. DC Podcast.
on Instagram now at
Dr. DC Podcast.
on Twitter as always at
Dr. DC.
at our email, which we didn't get too many of this
We
week.
didn't get any of. drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
All right, and this is the week, you guys. You are going to go to iTunes. You're going to create an account. You're going to give us a 5-star
Create an
review.
account. Who doesn't have an iTunes account?
I don't know. Some people might not.
My dad.
Some people who don't use iTunes to get these podcasts, you're still going to go in and you're going to create an account. You're going to give us a 5-star review. and-
Dashel, we're looking at you, homie.
That's right. Get your dad's
Not
credit card.
literally. It's more of a it's a figure
Dashel,
of speech that
me and
we're
you
like,
again. We're buddies. You're going to get your dad's credit card. You're going to go onto iTunes. First, you're
You're gonna buy all the rap music you can get.
you're gonna get Clash of Clans and you're gonna get Fortnite. You're gonna
Clash of Clans. Buy
You're gonna
all
get-
the jewels.
you. Speaking of jewels, get Hogwarts Mystery. Send me some of those jewels. It's a lot of money.
You're coercing a kid to get you pay to play stuff.
After you're done that, you're gonna go in and you're gonna give us a 5-star review. You're gonna say something really cool, and then we're gonna read it on the next podcast. I want reviews for all of our next episodes. So get on there, you guys. How about this? If we get to, let's say if we've got like what? I think like 12 reviews right now. If we get to 50 reviews, we're going to make Colin do something he doesn't want to do.
You mean that's what we always do that?
It's called each episode.
Him being here.
We're going to make Colin read Superman for all seasons.
Can we set the number lower? I want him to read it.
No.
I think 52. It should
We-
be 52.
Oh,
52 is fair.
Colin,
we get
Colin is
52.
paying attention.
If we get 52 reviews, we will make Colin read Superman for all seasons. We'll do an episode about
How
that.
long is that?
It's a trade.
It's like
About the-
It's like
it's like Long Halloween.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys are going to do that this week, right? You're going to send us a message and tell us you did it too.
Can we break that
And
one
we can
down
talk about
in
it.
like a few episodes? That sounds
I really love hearing the desperation in Richard's voice when he asks for these reviews.
because it's a little bit demanding.
Well, he oscillates between like being like really sad about it and then being really like aggressive. Like sometimes it's like, just give us a review, anyone. And then sometimes it's like, you're gonna give us a review.
Desperation and aggressiveness. That's how I live my life.
Jesus.
Oh, well, thank you guys very much for listening to another episode of Dr. DC Podcast.
We're coming up to June, which is gonna be like
Or 1 year. Who
1
knows what we're
year?
going to do?
like fan appreciation month. We got fun stuff planned.
Are you sure flipping it?
Yep.
Well, some kind of sign off.
Adios.
Reviews!
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
I'm gonna do this thing for you. This happened for me. You can't run from it. Put the lotion in the basketball and got Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Phil Seymour up. Hello, Lord Michaels. Here's my audition for SNL. Buffalo Phil Seymour up. I puts the lotion in the basket, or I'll fuck you so bad. That's filthy.
You have a child.